Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm reviewing It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and let me tell you, it's an emotional roller coaster. This isn't just your typical romance novel, it tackles some heavy themes like love, abuse, and personal growth. If you haven't read it yet, trust me, it's a book that sticks with you long after the last page. Let's dive into why this book is so powerful and why you should definitely give it a read. It Ends With Us is a deeply emotional and heart-wrenching novel by Colleen Hoover that follows Lily Bloom, a young woman who moves to Boston after the death of her abusive father. Her father's legacy leaves a huge impact on her, especially on how she views love and relationships. Lily, determined to start fresh and leave her past behind, is both resilient and vulnerable, carrying the weight of her father's mistreatment of her mother. This trauma shapes her into the woman she becomes, someone who wants to build a future on her own terms, independent from the shadows of her past. While at her father's funeral, Lily meets Ryle Kincaid, a neurosurgeon who is confident, charming, and successful. Ryle, however, doesn't believe in love. He's upfront with Lily about his disinterest in relationships, telling her that he doesn't want anything serious. Despite his stance, their undeniable chemistry leads to an intense, passionate affair. Ryle is everything Lily thinks she wants, confident, self-assured, and he gives her attention like no one ever has before. As their relationship develops, Lily begins to see Ryle's darker side. His occasional bursts of anger and the tension between them build to a terrifying point. What once seemed like an exhilarating romance takes a dangerous turn, and we see that the charming neurosurgeon has a darker, abusive side. But Lily's struggle isn't just with Ryle. Her past love, Atlas Corrigan, re-enters her life. Atlas is a homeless boy Lily once helped when she was younger. Their love was pure, deep, and filled with hope, but due to circumstances beyond their control, they lost touch. When their paths cross again, Lily finds herself torn between her past love for Atlas and her current tumultuous relationship with Ryle. The novel's conflict comes to a head as Lily faces an agonizing decision. Should she stay with Ryle, the man she's deeply involved with, but who has hurt her, or should she return to Atlas, the man she's never quite gotten over? At the core of It Ends With Us is the question of whether Lily can overcome her fear of repeating her mother's abusive relationship with her father and find the strength to break free from a man who may not be able to change. Lily's journey is about rediscovering herself, learning to love herself, and finding the courage to walk away from something toxic, even if that means letting go of someone she once believed could be her forever. As Lily's emotional journey unfolds, the book explores incredibly difficult themes, especially domestic abuse. It doesn't shy away from the uncomfortable truths about toxic relationships. Ryle's actions and how they manifest, his apologetic behavior after outbursts, his claims that he'll change, and his controlling and emotionally manipulative tendencies are painfully relatable for many who have been in similar situations. Throughout the novel, Lily struggles to reconcile her own feelings for Ryle with the abusive reality of their relationship. She often questions whether she can change him, whether she can forgive him, and whether love is enough to overcome such darkness. The novel portrays the complexity of an abusive relationship, showing the inner battle of trying to justify someone's hurtful behavior out of love and fear. The hard truth that emerges is that love isn't enough to heal someone who refuses to change, and that sometimes walking away is the bravest and most necessary thing you can do. But Lily doesn't just walk away from Ryle. The real growth in the story comes when she acknowledges that she deserves better. The healing comes from within, realizing that true love is not about enduring pain or excusing hurtful behavior. It's about building a future where she can thrive and find a love that isn't destructive. Fool. It Ends With Us is one of the most emotionally gripping novels I've ever read. Colleen Hoover has this incredible ability to weave real-life experiences into her fiction in a way that makes the story feel incredibly authentic. The characters, especially Lily, feel so real, and you get so invested in her story. The emotional depth of this novel is immense, and it really forces you to reflect on your own views about love, boundaries, and self-worth. Lily's character development is one of the strongest elements of this book. When we first meet her, she's a woman trying to escape her past, but still shaped by it. She's reluctant to let go of Ryle, even when his behavior is clearly harmful. She wants to believe in the good in him, just like many victims of abuse do. Hoover does an amazing job showing the psychological toll that an abusive relationship takes on a person, and Lily's internal conflict makes her journey feel raw and honest. Ryle is a deeply complex character. At first, he seems like the ideal partner, intelligent, driven, and caring. But as the relationship deepens, his darker side starts to appear. Hey, there's something deeply tragic about Ryle. He's a man who clearly loves Lily, but is also deeply flawed and unable to control his temper. It's heartbreaking because, as a reader, you see that he's a product of his own trauma. But that doesn't justify his actions. His journey is painful to read because you see someone caught in a cycle of self-destruction. Atlas, on the other hand, is a character who feels like a breath of fresh air. Hi. When he and Lily reconnect, it's not just rekindling their past romance, but also a recognition of how much they've grown. Atlas represents the kind of love that is supportive, kind, and patient. He never forces Lily into anything. He's simply there for her when she needs her. Their relationship is a beautiful reminder of how love should feel, safe and uplifting. One of the things I really appreciate about this novel is how it doesn't shy away from the reality of abuse. It's so easy to idealize a romantic relationship, but Hoover shows us how it's possible to love someone who's hurting you, and how hard it can be to break free from that love. The ending of It Ends With Us is bittersweet, but ultimately empowering. There are moments in the novel that will make you uncomfortable, and that's not a bad thing. It Ends With Us challenges us to examine the darker side of love and relationships. It encourages readers to reflect on their own boundaries, the importance of self-love, and the ability to walk away when necessary, no matter how hard that may be. In conclusion, It Ends With Us is a remarkable novel that is difficult to put down once you start. It's an emotional roller coaster that will make you cry, reflect, and rethink everything you thought you knew about love. The story is raw, powerful, and necessary. It doesn't offer easy solutions, but it provides hope and strength for those who have been through difficult relationships and are learning to put themselves first. I highly recommend this book to anyone who is ready to read something real, raw, and ultimately uplifting. It will stay with you long after you've turned the last page. So that was my review of It Ends With Us. What did you think of Lily's journey and her decisions? Did you relate to her struggle to break free from Ryle? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you've read the book, what did you think of the ending? And if you haven't read it yet, are you interested in picking it up now? Let me know. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and click that notification bell so you won't miss my next review. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay strong and keep reading.